Well, in the Pacific Northwest, in the state of Washington, is the Friesen Performance IMCA Modified number 6W, driven by Rick Smith. Rick is one of the favorites going in as far as representing Skagit Speedway when it comes to the Survive the 55 that'll be taking place on the 27th and 28th of September. We got a chance to talk with him about his origins in racing and his stout sprint car career before he got in the modifieds and what it means for Skagit Speedway to be a part of the Speedway Motors IMCA Weekly racing program. That's coming up next. But before we get to the interview, make sure wherever you're listening or watching from, you hit the like button and subscribe so that you don't miss out on future episodes. Well, coming to us from gorgeous and scenic Washington, Mount Vernon to be specific, driving the Friesen Performance IMCA Modified number 6W, Rick Smith. Rick, great to have you on board for the Beyond the Flags podcast. Definitely a notable name in the Pacific Northwest in this division, and definitely a favorite, a local favorite, to pick up the big money on the line here very soon for the Survive the 55 at Skagit Speedway.
Yeah, I think we've been doing a lot of changing around with stuff, so we're making big strides in trying to figure out these things and try to get the car better.
Car count at Skagit Speedway on a local level, at least, it's been going pretty good. There's been new guys coming in the game, and I feel like it's made and there's also been some drivers coming to frequent it more than in the past. I feel like it's making it a pretty good melting pot of some good talent that's being produced up there.
Yeah, we had a couple new rookies come in this year, and one of them's leading our points right now. And another rookie, he's also won a race here, and guys are getting a lot better cars. It doesn't hurt anything when the purse gets added, so we have a little bit more to race for as far as money wise. And everybody's just picking up their speed and everything. So everything's looking pretty good as far as car counts, and we're getting good numbers of cars. We're not quite up to Elma as far as car wise, but we're getting better.
Well, no doubt. I remember going to Skagit for the first time ever for your guys' mid-season championship night in the summer of 2022. And then I came back for the first Survive the 55. And it seemed like that first Survive the 55 for the Skagit locals really opened their eyes up to, like, holy smokes, like, we can, like, it set the bar for a challenge, is what I'm trying to say. And it seems like they're rising to that challenge and doing really well. As there's been some guy, Jeff Westergaard, he's went and traveled to Arizona at the IMCA TV Winter Nationals, and you got some guys that are frequenting some different places. I think James Bundy went to Montana during the Independence Day time of the season, and it's great to see that it's developing nicely.
Yeah, these guys that are traveling around, they come from a different series. I mean, they come from the midgets and sprint car division, so they got a lot different feeling in the cars, and they're adapting to the cars pretty quick. And I mean, they're doing a good job, and it's making everything better for the class, I think, and making it. At least it's making it look like, hey, I can jump out of a sprint car and jump in a modified and still be competitive with the guys like me and Kevin and Adam and all the guys that race up here, and they're still running in the top 5 with us. And so it's made everything a very hard to win on a regular night, because 2 years ago we were winning a lot of races. This year I only won one race so far, but we've had our ups and downs this year. But other than that, we've been doing pretty good.
Well, I was going to say, one win this year, June 15th, and 2022 really had just an incredible season. Like you said, pretty much winning everything but just a handful, and winning the track championship.
Yeah, 2023 or 22, whatever year that was, we won 6 main events and ran second in the rest of the races. I mean, yeah, we had a phenomenal year. Ran 10th or 11th in the drive for 55, and we're looking to achieve a little bit better results at that 55. We just haven't had the luck there going into that. We kind of got behind, got wrecked a few times on the very first lap, opening laps, but hopefully this year everything will be a lot better off.
Well, first time I really had a conversation with you would have been probably about that mid-season championship of 22. But I remember watching your race before then, when the Northern Sprint Tour would come down to Cottage Grove Speedway with Fred Brownfield's organization. And,
Oh yeah.
you know, for you, for the viewers that may not know your background, your introduction and how you got involved in racing, because I believe, if Fred Ranner told me right, you came from late models before sprint cars.
Yeah, my dad was a stock car guy. He started in '72, and I watched him race. I watched both my older brothers race in late models and stock cars. And Kevin went on to run sprint cars, and also now he's back in modifieds. And I raced late models for 5 years and won 2 track championships up here at Skagit. And then went on to run sprint cars for, 10, 12 years. And ran and played with mini sprints and go-karts and stuff like that. So, and then now we're pretty much been racing modifieds for the last 8 years now. So,
and I've
had a pretty wide, and the years of racing with Fred in the Northern Sprint Tour, that was some of the best races I've done as far as traveling around with a group of guys.
Oh, no doubt. And I never really got the story. What was the story with late models not being at Skagit? Was it just a lack of interest in car count, or were they just getting too expensive?
No, they had a good strong 16, 18 cars. There was just one guy named Jim Burrow. He hated late models, and he said if he ever owned the racetrack, that was the first thing he was going to do is get rid of them. And that's the first thing he did.
Oh, okay.
So that was why the late models kind of went away. I mean, it had nothing to do with the car count or lack of interest. It was just one guy hated sprint cars.
Yeah.
And, he's not around no more. But these guys that are here now, the Redeem Foundation or 55, they seem to want to make it work and working with everybody. So it seems to be working out pretty good.
And you've seen a lot at Skagit. You've predominantly raced your whole career there. And for sanctioning to come in 2022, no doubt that was a big deal. Nothing against unsanctioned racing, but it gives everybody a level playing field with the rules, and then it also allows people from outside to easily come in and also get you some national recognition as well.
Yeah, I mean, Elma at that time, Elma has already been a IMCA sanctioned track for a couple of years, and we were sitting up here kind of out on our own, and so I mean, it was good that they brought the 2 tracks together, and now we could run for a state championship if we would choose to race that many races and all. So I mean, and of course you got your local championship at each track. So, and they kind of been working together on trying to not schedule races on top of each other so they can come down and race with us and we can go down and race with them, vice versa. So it's been working pretty good that way.
Well, and going back to you and your early driving days, how did that kind of start? Was that, you approaching your dad like, hey, Dad, I'd like to kind of get behind the wheel, or, your older brothers? Or tell me about the first laps that you started cranking out.
Well, my older brother, Terry, that he passed away a couple of years ago, talked me into getting in the car when I was about 17 years old. And I think the first 2 or 3 laps, I think I crashed his car and broke a spindle. And I said I never wanted to race again. But I went in the military. I met a guy there, and we got to talking. He was a racer from, I believe, back east someplace. And I came home, got out of the military, and decided I wanted to try racing and see if I could do it or not. And told my dad, and he said, well, you need to work on a car for a little bit before you just get in and drive them. So I watched my dad drive the car for a year, learned how to pit on a car. He let me pack a hot lap and do a couple of heat races before my rookie year in 91. And then everything else has been history since then.
Okay. Well, first of all, thank you for your service. That's awesome. And I always love hearing how people get their starts and everything. And the first stories I heard of Skagit was, my dad, he was a guy that would wrench on everyone's cars. And I think it was like back in the 80s and stuff, they used to have a big late model, super stock race.
Oh, the IMCA stuff.
Yeah.
Or not the IMCA, whatever they called that. IDC is what they called it.
There was the International Drivers Challenge, and this was like a deal where I mean, oh gosh, who's the guy's name? He drove for like a speed shop in Southern California, Steve Vaughn, I think, with like a black, like a blue 6-ball kind of deal.
Oh,
And
I remember that car. Yeah.
yeah, he was fast. And then, my dad would go up with guys like Jay Bugby or Mark Howard or Joe Bond from Oregon. But yeah, no, like it was a big deal. It was a big happening.
Yep. Because the asphalt guys came down and raced that. It was a big series. They came down and raced on the dirt, and the dirt guys went down and raced on the asphalt. And it was a big thing. I remember my dad always got excited when around those times of year when that race was that week was going on. He loved racing those things.
Yeah, I remember Fred telling me about it. Like they would go to Portland. They'd go to Sky Valley and even Monroe and Langley.
Monroe, Skagit, Langley. Yeah, there was like 5 or 6 different tracks they went to. Most of them were all asphalt though.
Yeah, it was just crazy. And then I think was there one time they went to Victoria at Western?
I believe so.
Okay.
Yeah, I believe so.
Man, it's just I was talking to a guy about it in my last episode about there was a time where you could race dirt and pavement back-to-back nights, and it just that doesn't seem possible now with the same car, mind you. So
yeah. So a little different cars back then than they are now.
yes, totally. Yeah. It's definitely a cool era, and definitely I think a lot of people miss that era where, I mean, everybody was racing, takeoff slicks and everything. You didn't even have to change the tires.
Yeah. I mean, that was growing up as a kid, watching my dad go up in Canada and race up there, and then going down Monroe and running on the big 5.8s. And he was a dirt guy, and he actually made A-mains and stuff like that. And it was kind of fun to watch. So, and seeing those guys come from asphalt to dirt, and like Roy Haslam and a lot of those guys, they were fast guys back then.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, no, there was no slouches. I mean, if you're going to go and race for a week, it's definitely going to make you better, for sure. Yeah,
anything makes you better. It's just like running the IMCA Speed Week or Sprint Car Speed Week when we used to run that stuff on Fred's Northern Sprint Tour. And you run for a week, you're going to learn things, and you're going to get better as a driver, and you get more comfortable in the cars. So like this year, we've only ran 7 or 8 races, but I went down to Elma a few times. So I think I've ran 10 races, but I wish I could have run about another 10 more to catch up with these Oregon guys that are coming up next week.
Are you looking to find that adrenaline rush, but you can't because you're not at the racetrack? Well, check out the IMCA TV Replay subscription library to have access to thousands of hours of racing for just $24.99 a month. Relive all the moments of the Speedway Motors IMCA Super Nationals fueled by Casey's at Boone Speedway, the Harris Clash at Deer Creek Speedway in Spring Valley, Minnesota, the IMCA TV Winter Nationals at Cocopah Speedway in Somerton, Arizona, Florida's Clash on the Coast, and dozens of Speedway Motors IMCA Weekly Racing Program racetracks from across the nation, as well as the IMCA TV Dirtcast podcast. Plus, 25% of that $24.99 monthly fee goes towards the Drivers Point Fund and is a great way to help out your local racers. In 2023, over $97,000 was paid out to IMCA drivers directly at over 50 racetracks across the country. Please note that live broadcasts are not part of the replay subscription. That's IMCA TV. IMCA TV, where America comes to watch racing. Well, growing up as a kid, I remember you running an all-black car with orange number 28. But now you run the 6W. What is there a certain story behind choosing the 6W? I really want to know also the 28 story too.
Well, the 28 story was predominantly my dad's number. I ran that number for 25 years. Mm-hmm. We had a lot of success in that with running that number. And now the reason I don't run the 28 now is Austin, my nephew. He runs the family car that me and my dad and Austin owned.
Okay.
So he runs the 28 car now. So we still have the family car still here. The number's still here. It's still in the family. And the 6W kind of, when me and Jeff parted ways after last year, the 25 was Jeff's Blanton's number. Mm-hmm. So, and I was just his driver, and when you're somebody's driver, you drive whatever they put on for a number. So I just happened to be the lucky guy to sit behind the car and make it look good. So, and then the 6W, that is one of my sponsors. I don't know if you know the history of the Ralph Warchow and the Warchows that used to race up here at Skagit Speedway. That was their dad's number was a 6, and the W comes from the when we used to run the 8W from the Willow Motorsports that I run under my team under. So we added the W to it. So
okay. Yeah.
So it's kind of a mix of two different teams coming together and families coming together and racing together that had a lot of history in racing with each other.
Sure. I remember the Warchow name especially, and they were obviously, yeah. Was it Warchow Trucking that helped you guys out?
Yep, Mike Warchow Trucking. He sponsors the car, and I keep my race car at Bill Warchow, his brother's house. Okay. So we work on the car there. So it's kind of been a lot of help for us and everything. So it's worked out pretty good.
I know that listeners here, they may be a little bit lost, like it from the Midwest or wherever they're tuning in that follow IMCA. But one of the things I love about Skagit Speedway is, yes, it's predominantly known as a sprint car track and still is. However, what doesn't matter what division it is just the family ties, and it's not a place where you got a lot of one generation drivers. There's sometimes 4 generation teams there, going all the way back to the foundation of Skagit Speedway back in the 1950s, and it's just incredible to see and continue all the interminglings and the relationships that all connect.
Yeah. I mean, if you go back generations, like me and my brother, we raced together, and then Austin, which is another generation of, my dad's, his grandson. So that's 2 generations there. And my dad raced. So we had 3 generations of, Smiths, and right now we got 3 of them on the track at one time. So I'm sure Caleb gets a little confused on who's who, but hopefully he gets it figured out every night.
Sure. Yeah. Well, there's a team that they're all related and they have same livery colors. The only thing is, and same font of their number, except there's like a little, an exponent basically of a, a square.
I still carry the black cars. I always will have a black car, and I just like my car. My dad's getting older, and he said, that's hard for me to find your car, and that's why we went to the orange this year. And I go, you should be able to see it now, Dad.
There you go. Yeah, I'm a moving traffic cone.
Yeah, I go, just look for the bright car out there.
Exactly.
Exactly.
So switching gears here a little bit, I've spent a bit of time in Mount Vernon in the last few years, and it seems like a nice, lovely town. For people that have never been there, and we're going to put you in charge as the tourist minister, what are some great things that they can partake in, whether just coming up to the races or even if there isn't a race going on? It seems like there's always something happening.
Well, Mount Vernon is it's a small town. I mean, I grew up here, lived here all my life. I mean, we have the fair in August, and then we have Tulip Town, which is, early May, June. This time of the year, you got Deception Pass. You can travel out to that. You can go some of these. There's a lot of areas that go up hiking on, or go out to the Anacortes and visit the ocean and stuff, walk along paths and stuff like that. There's all kinds of, or go for the drive up the North Cascades, and see the elk and wildlife and stuff like that. But there's all kinds of things to do. I mean, we have a lot of parks, we have a lot of trees around here, we got a lot of mountains, and there's not a lack of things to do. We got a lot of casinos around here. If you like doing that stuff, we got that too. And I mean, we don't have any movie theaters. I mean, we got one, but we don't have no outside ones. But, we got a lot of good restaurants and stuff, and there's a lot of good places to go.
Yeah, it seems pretty centrally located, too. If you want to go see sporting events in Vancouver or even in Seattle, it's not that far away.
Yeah, it's only an hour away to go to Seattle if you want to go to Vancouver. I mean, here a couple of weeks ago, we went down to a concert in Seattle, and we went to a football game on UW Stadium, and that's only an hour out. And then we watched the high limit racing here at Skagit Speedway that week. It was a busy week, and then we went racing on a Sunday night down in Elma. So yeah, we were jam packed with all kinds of entertainment here a couple of weeks ago. So we're kind of winding down, get down to our last season championship this Saturday, and then that drive for 55 is coming up. So, and if you have never seen that race, seeing 24 modified guys that are at the top of their game. That's a good race to go watch.
Well, and I mean, is there a chance we might see you have an early start to the year, like at IMCA TV Winter Nationals this January?
With my work, they don't really give me time off in the winter, but you never know. We might be able to do something, but we got 3 cars. It's not like we don't have the cars. We just got to find the time to do it. And, traveling down there is expensive. I don't have the budget for, I mean, you're talking thousands of dollars for fuel and lodging and all that stuff and tire bill and everything. So it takes a little bit of money and time and effort to do that kind of stuff. So, but yeah, that'd be one of the things on my bucket list I'd love to go do, is do that Winter Nationals and race with those guys. Because from what I see, those are some of the best races I've seen when you get to watch them on TV and stuff.
Well, hey, you never know. Somebody may be listening and be sending a couple Benjamins your way. So
yeah, that'd be all great.
Yeah, exactly.
Everything's appreciated.
Yeah, hey, not gonna say $100 is $100, right? So
yeah.
I know that you mentioned some people that are very important to your team, as well as your family, and feel free to mention them again. But folks that you'd like to thank, sponsors that you'd like to thank.
Well, I got about 3 or 4 really good sponsors. I got Handy's Heating that helps me out a lot. Straight On Construction, they do a lot. Mike Warchow, his brother, helps me out with giving us a place to work on the car and helping out with the trailer, because obviously I own 2 cars and I don't obviously own 2 trailers or a trailer big enough to put both cars in. So he helps us out with providing us with another trailer and a truck to get the cars there. And, we got Precision Land Management and guys, smaller guys that are behind the scenes that are not as big, but they help us out. Backcountry Painting, these are all guys that, low budget auto. They all help the Cascade Pizza, Eagles. We got a lot of guys that help us out and make sure we get what we need. So, but yeah, it's been, I guess when you win races and win championships, guys want to come and help you out a little bit, and it makes it a lot easier when you're a winning team. So, and we're getting there, but we always use more. Everything helps all the way down the line.
Absolutely. Well, Rick, I hope that this weekend goes good for you for championship weekend, and then of course that there'll be a successful and a good showing for you at the Survive the 55 against some of the stout competition rolling in town.
Yeah, this weekend, we're sitting 3rd in points, 1 point out of 2nd. Pretty much we're racing for 2nd. We've had a couple bad races nights there. We had a couple DNFs, and pretty much we're, Jeff Westergaard's pretty much got the championship tied up just by showing up, basically. So, if I can get to 2nd, I'm happy with that. 2 firsts and 2 seconds in the last 4 years is pretty good accomplishment for racing up here, as far as for points racing. And then the drive for 55. Last year we finished 10th in that race. So I'm hoping to improve on that this year, and we can get a little bit further up the line, maybe get in the top 5 this year.
Awesome. Well, it's always a pleasure to get a chance to catch up with you and talk some racing, and I really appreciate you coming on.
Yep. Thank you for the interview.
Well, race fans, that does it for this interview. We hope you enjoyed it, and we hope that you continue to enjoy these upcoming interviews. We appreciate it if you would like and subscribe wherever you're listening, whether it's on Spotify, iTunes, YouTube, wherever it's at. Give us a like and give us a subscription so that we can deliver more of these great interviews to you for your listening pleasure. In the meantime, wherever we're at, wherever you're listening, we hope you have a great rest of your day and a pleasant evening, and we will see you soon here at Highside Racing Promotions.